And you go ahead, Director Berman, and get us started.
Okay, thank you, Mike. This is the up-to-date Buildings and Facilities Board Committee meeting, November 1st. Start with the quick roll call. Mike Ware.
Present.
John Simpson. Andy Mott. Greg Kelly. Julie Theander. Christy. Chester.
Here, I am here.
All right, we got one. Debbie McKay.
I'm here too.
And Superintendent Carpenter looks like he's here too.
Reporting for duty. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, that's action item A. B, our mission, vision, values. Our mission is to equip every student with the knowledge and skills necessary to be resourceful and successful. Our vision in 2030, the Estacada School District, backed by a strong collaborative organizational culture, leads the state of Oregon in graduation rates and student success. Building on a foundation of fully engaged community and families, up-to-date buildings and facilities, and sustainable finances and accountability. Estacada schools are a focal point of community pride and advancement. Our values: inspire, engage, and achieve. All right, section C, board member update. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about everything on the agenda, Mike. There's a lot of good stuff going on. The ROI reports have been a hit at the board meetings. We're all excited to hear about the grants we got in the technology department, and also it's nice to see the portables are starting to get electricity and starting to get occupied. So great job on all that, but I'm looking forward to hearing more about it later on down the way. That's the update for me. Do we have a superintendent's update?
Yeah, just a very short one. I do want to commend Mike and his operations team. They're doing a lot of great work. And as the leaves begin falling from our staples of old oak trees, I just want to commend them for continuing to pick those up and scoop those up so that our district can remain looking sharp and ready for learning for all kids who come onto our campus. I am excited about fostering, starting today, a conversation of how we can continue to improve the facilities, primarily at our main stadium area. Right now, as we try to execute our strategic plan, updated and safe facilities are a major pillar of our strategic plan. And so excited to engage this committee as well as our community and how we can improve that to support our kids. Because right now, as we know, we're doing a disservice to our students with the current conditions of the football field. So hoping we have the chance today to discuss that briefly, as well as hoping to have the opportunity to update our community on how things are going in the back 20 acres and that project as well. So look forward to that. And that's your superintendent's report.
Thank you, Superintendent Carpenter. I'll echo that too. Like, that was on my list and I sped past it, but the idea of making sure we have safe athletic facilities, and also investing our money wisely in maintenance and other things, you know, our target to reduce all those. It's important to take a look at those current facilities and what we can do to make them more cost effective and safer. So thanks for picking that one up. All right. Section E, pillar leader report, Mr. Ware.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here. And so for tonight's report, I want to go through, as the agenda says, a few talking points on survey results, some opportunities and wins based off data that we're collecting. And then we have a few reports from Christy and myself. Julie Theander cannot make it, so I'll report for her, as well as John, and as well as talking about our football stadium that's on there. I had asked Andy Mott to provide a few statements, and I have some information so we can have that conversation as well. Oh, there's Greg Kelly. Wonderful. All right, so as we know, our 2021 goal was score a 3.90 on the My School is Clean question and the student engagement survey. And we just received our fall scores, and they're here indicated over in the far right. And as you can see, this is going to be a big opportunity for this committee and this pillar that we unfortunately hit our mark at 3.88, so just a few points shy of that overall mean score. And so we know we're seeing progress based off scores in May of 2020 and October of 2020, especially when we look at May 1st of 2021. We started seeing a real increase in engagement of our students, and we made some very intentional action steps to get there. And then we saw a bit of a dip over the summer and into the early fall. And now my goal and my opportunity is to work with our leaders within our buildings, as well as in our district, on how we can rise to our score, looking at our new goal, new tactics, also obviously leveraging existing tactics and methods that worked last year, for example, pictures and different engagement activities with our students. So again, we had to, we're going to readjust, we're going to adapt and abandon certain actions moving forward into this new cycle year.
Mike, on that chart, the last time we had students full-time in the building, which one of these categories would best cover that previous to now?
Previous to today, this month it'd be May of 21.
So we had a full house in 21. It wasn't.
We were on the cusp of if not everybody was in person. We were in hybrid in some schools, but we had students on campus.
But when was our last full capacity? Was that a year prior? Like,
I would say so. Yes. Yeah.
And so now you're measuring this October 5th was like a full capacity reading.
Correct.
With what I'll call normal school.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, really that May 1st, 2020, that was really kind of when schools shut down. And so prior to that was when we were in normal operations, similar to that of October 5th. So I would say in comparison, working in full capacity, you're right, Director Berman, that May 1st is probably more of a realistic look of what today, October 5th score would look like.
Okay. That's what I was poking at. Thanks. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
It is one more thing that is important to note. I don't know if you have if you said that in that, but our annual goal goes from October to October. So even though our spring dip was significant and worthy to acknowledge and build action plans upon, there was growth from fall to fall, 3.8 to 3.88. And so we did see some meaningful movement. We just fell short, just short of our goal. But commendations to the fact that, again, even though we fail, we want to fail forward. And I think this is evidence that even though we failed in meeting our goal, there was positive progress made.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. There was intentional actions. And we asked specifically of our high school students, what did they want out of their building? What are some of the things we wanted to address? Which to my knowledge, we haven't done in a while. So, I mean, this was another great first step to get their voice and work with our secondary students from there. So thank you for bringing that point up. Okay, some wins, opportunities, improvements, and actions. Here's both a win and an opportunity here. You can see our schools cleaning scores here across the board. With 3 of our schools are above that 3 mark, and this is out of a 5 rating based off industry standards. Where the opportunity is our Rivermill Elementary. We're working very closely using evidence-based leadership to support our custodial crew and our night crew to work on these scores and find different methods, different resources that we need, but also celebrating, finding out what we're doing right at middle school, at the high school, and at CRE to apply it to Rivermill. So our facilities coordinator, John Simpson, again, not here today, has been tirelessly working with his staff across each school on making sure these scores are reflected to true evaluation of the cleanliness. And while these are wins, these are also opportunities to learn from and to cascade out to other employees within the custodial department. So again, a win/opportunity for us here. Yes, Ryan?
I just want to point out, mainly to our community who is either watching this live or who will watch it later on, that these scores are actually given by the custodian. So these are peers scoring each other. And so I think this is good evidence, because I think it's easy to draw a conclusion that, if one custodian is ranking another custodian, they're just going to give them all perfect scores. And this, I think, is also not only evidence of us holding ourselves accountable, but these are the high expectations that our employees have for each other and the love that they have for their buildings that they've been assigned. And so, as you look at Clackamas River, Rivermill, and those, I think it's pretty impressive to see their peers holding each other accountable and scoring, judging, and grading with high expectations. So I do think that that's fantastic, and I just want to commend you and your team for that, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you. And this is a 2.5-year process where we're getting better. Our leads have been the same leads from two years ago, and are getting better about evaluating and using those standards. So again, moving forward in a positive way. Meals, I wanted to share this because our meal rate per month. So in September of last month, basically, we served 20,000 meals, or just shy of 21,000. This year, this October, we have provided 27,000, about a 38% increase. And I'm sharing this because while we know that this is up-to-date buildings and facilities, everything that we're focused on is student success and the success of our students. And we know they need to be nourished and they need to have food. And we have a fortunate opportunity to have a free meal for every student in our district. And we're just pumping out a lot of meals from our department and nutrition services. And I just wanted to highlight that win across the board for our district and for our community. And then we talked about our scores here. Again, this is another opportunity where we saw that fall of 20 to fall of 21, knowing that we did make a lot of good progress and that we're going to be working with our leaders on celebrating the wins that we've done over the last 12 months, but also looking at where we can improve. So this is a good opportunity here as well for us.
I think it's important to note that the kids, if you look at that 3.88 average, and if you were to go back to what the custodians were scoring each other, it's actually very similar. And so I think that that's an interesting finding.
Yeah, and I know our high school is rolling out their student engagement here, I believe, in a couple of days, and we'll be looking for information and feedback from our students, specifically at the high school. So I look forward to hearing that information as well. So our new goal going into this cycle is a score of 3.98, and this is based off our metrics that we've created in our scores. Based off a certain score, we have to increase by X amount. And with our score from last year, this produced a 3.98. So moving forward, you'll see this will be our overall annual score for 21-22. And again, looking forward to addressing this area and moving forward. Okay, I wanted to jump into some capital improvement project updates. And then I know Christy has some information to share as well. We just nearly completed the installation of a new scoreboard back on our track where our JV athletes play, as well as our track team participates. And so this is a great addition to our district, being able to follow track times, to have this ability to track our scores and down and distance, as well as soccer games. We know that we'll have this conversation in a little bit, but the use of our stadium is limited because of it's a grass field. And so we've had to ask our JV players to play over on the JV football soccer field. And we didn't have an adequate scoreboard for them. And so we work together with athletics and community organizations to have this installed. We just need to hook up the power now, but we're, again, very excited for this installation and this addition to our athletics department. Our portable units, as you mentioned, Director Berman, we're getting very close. We're now waiting for PGE to flip the switch all of the conduit and electrical is ready to go. And we're just ready for those power to be restored. Internet and connectivity is ready to go once power is ready to be hooked up there. The last phase would be our Rivermill new portable that we just purchased will be plumbing, and we're waiting on our third contractor to provide a bid so that we can move forward on the plumbing excavation, knowing that might be something we might use later in the future. So it's a wise investment by the district to be able to keep moving forward on the plumbing and accessibility of that portable. EHS windows, the high school windows, we know, as you've seen maybe some past communications and through our bond work and communications at operations, that our windows at the high school are the same windows when the building was constructed, single pane, not very efficient, and there's some safety issues as well that we experience with those windows. And so along with John Simpson and I, we're procuring a bid to replace a portion of the windows, and looking to see what those costs are going to be. And this is a more investigatory process to make sure that if we can afford the purchase of the project, or if we need to wait for a potential bond to be able to address this need in our district. Same along with the painting, as some of you, or maybe the community members or district members, have seen the backside of our high school. We recently painted in the fall, which looks great, and it was a nice addition and a facelift to our high school. We're now again investigating the process of getting the entire high school painted through procurement, and really looking forward to that opportunity to see if we can move forward pending funding and resources by the district. And then North Complex, our back 20 acres, the grass is growing really well because now we got a lot of rain, which is good. We had a pretty dry summer, as all of you know, and that took a toll on the seed and the kind of the initial phases of the grass. But now I saw our football team out there practicing last week in that area, and we're moving forward with getting engineer designs for a paved driveway and parking from east to west of the complex, so that we have safe areas for access and walking when we're attending a baseball game or a softball game or even a football or a soccer game in the fall. We are working with an architect on a concessions drawing concept, and then working with district leaders on the placement of where that concession stand and bathroom as part of a partnership with the city of Estacada. At this time, we just received the proposal from engineering on the pavement engineering plans, which we'll be able to put into an RFP in the spring of 22. Is there any questions on any of those projects?
At some point in this presentation, would it be possible maybe to display the blueprints of the concession stand? I think this would be a great first place to share those documents. And again, for those who are participants in viewing our pillar, this is a great first place for our community to be able to see that as well.
Yes, I'll let Christy jump into her quick report, and I'll be able to pull it up when she's talking, okay?
Mike, back on your list of projects, is that window project, does it get any kind of supplement from Energy Trust or anybody?
Yeah, we could use, there is ETO money, and we also could use our SB 1149. If you recall, we with Christina, our finance director, identified approximately $40,000 in SB 1149 funds that can be applied to Energy Trust or energy efficient projects. And that's from windows to lighting to anything that essentially saves energy, saves the district resources through energy. So that's an avenue that we're looking at, knowing that that's a good investment.
Nice work on that scoreboard too. I was down watching a game 2 weeks ago, and we couldn't even find extension cords to run the bad score, the bad clock. So
yeah,
that's going to make a big difference. Nice work.
It will. Thank you very much. And I will turn it over to Christy real quick and stop sharing and be able to share an image that she wants. Maybe. Okay, Christy, go ahead.
Okay, I can go ahead and share, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so I wanted to share with you our Meraki dashboard. Meraki is the management tool that we use to, oh, I can't do that. The Meraki is the management tool that we use to track how our access points are doing at the junior high and, or excuse me, at the middle school and high school level. We can check the health of the devices. Of course, these access points are the ones that we just put in over the last year. And I kind of wanted to give you kind of a peek inside of the dashboard when we have an issue and we're troubleshooting, or we just want to see what the health of the devices is. So this right here is the summary report that we can see. And you guys are viewing this okay, correct? Okay,
Yes.
and right now it says junior high. It should say middle school. However, we're looking at our WPA environment, and we can also check our guest environment. But if we scroll down, we can see our usage, this is the usage over the last day. How many megabytes? We can also see our top client usage, and then we could drill down even further into applications. And we can see the access points themselves. So we can see if we have a trouble access point, we can actually click on that access point and drill down a little bit further. This is our summary report. I actually like this client view, which helps us if we have a client that says, hey, I'm having connectivity issues, we can click on this client and it's a pretty big dashboard, so it takes a second to load. We can go into the access point itself. We've been having issues with room 205 at the middle school, and we've been working to collect data on it. And this tool has been immensely helpful. But we can see what kind of, we've had 891 client devices connected to this access point. We can see the application usage, and we can see the data flow for the gigabit up and gigabit down. We can also click on, so this is Christine Boatman's laptop. We could click on this and we can actually see whether or not her connection is healthy. And we can find out through the DBs whether or not, so she's got 64-second or less millisecond usage. We can kind of track the gigabyte up, gigabyte down, and we can see how many successful connections and where her problematic connections have been. So I just kind of wanted to show you, this is an amazing tool that we have been able to use. When we implement at the elementary level, we will have this at our fingertips. I've got a lot here I can show you, but I think I'll just stop right there unless you have any questions.
I don't know about you, but that gets me excited. So
Which class is in the boys' locker room?
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, let's dive a little deeper on that.
Is Christy, is Art pulling the boys' locker room one?
Let's see. Let's go into, give it a second. It's a very heavy screen. So, all right, let's see. The boys' locker room, for some fun tidbits, is our highest usage access point. This particular user is our highest user. And if we go into the locker room, we can even drill down to see what fun applications are being utilized. And you might be surprised. Anybody have a guess?
I don't want to know.
It's okay. It's all good. If it wasn't, we would have said something a long time ago. It's so big. So we can see that 94% of users were able to connect. 98% have less than 64% milliseconds. And actually, this has more to do, the performance is usually a lot higher. However, we did lose power for about 45 minutes on Sunday. So a lot of this in the negative has to do with that. We can see the devices that have connected. A lot of that, these are device addresses, but you can see who's connected. If you're really curious. That's Amelia in the boys' locker room.
I'm more questioning like the physical location. Is it called this locker room, but it actually is servicing other rooms just because of its proximity to other rooms?
No, it is physically located in the boys' locker room.
And that's the only place it works?
Not necessarily. It has a pretty wide map that the range of it is fairly wide. So a device can hang on to it for a little bit longer. A student could connect to it here and then go into the cafeteria and remain connected to it. A teacher could be connected to it at the junior high locker room and walk outside and be connected to it for a time.
Would it connect someone from a different classroom right next to it?
It could, yes. It actually could. They are designed to work together. The Meraki access points are actually super intelligent. So when you turn one on, it actually looks out into the area and starts saying, "Hey, are you out there?" And then all of the access points sync up so that they can close the gap. And it's quite intelligent. So, I mean, it's hard to say when you're moving from room to room, potentially devices can hang on to a signal from one end of the junior high to the other.
So is it safe to assume, I mean, I see Mr. Grohusky and he's the PE teacher and the supervisor of that area. So no doubt he's going to be a heavy user in there, but would it be inaccurate then to state, as I look at the users, that this is primarily the place where our students are checking their phones?
It could be. However, I will tell you the highest usage is iTunes, which I can only assume that it is due to an iPod or an iPad that's connected to music, and that the students are listening to music while they're dressing down or dressing back up. So I was going to try to take you to the actual application, but I am not seeing that. So
that's okay.
I would say let's have a go back on that so we can keep moving, but it's something worth looking at.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Thank you, Christy.
Yes. All right.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and share our current, let's see here, we'll go this way. So going back to the concessions, I wanted to be able to share the concept design that we're looking at for the North Complex. And this is the outside of the shell. We've gone around a few different scenarios, iterations of the concession / restroom. And where we've landed is that we wanted to have a community style restroom like you've seen at other, parks and recs area, but also a family / single use restroom for smaller events. We are working with the city on the maintenance and the cleanliness or cleaning of this facility. And, we can mitigate the amount of cleaning needed if we have a small event and just need to open up one restroom. And then this will have basic concession functions. It's not a full service kitchen. It's more of just a shell for concessions, similar to what you see at over at the high school stadium, maybe at our baseball concessions. And I'll flip to that to kind of give you an idea what it looks like. And I apologize, this is the best image we can get for architectural purposes here. But you can see in the top right, this is where the concession would be located. And let me just get a spotlight here. Right here's the concession location where the double window opening, where we have some proposed sink, refrigerator area, a bottle fill station outside, And then you can see where we've put the two restrooms, men's and women's here, multi partitions and multi areas. And then we have on the opposite side a family restroom. And the reason why we've separated it is now we're working with a little bit more space. We know we need to accommodate for ADA. And now you have kind of an awning style cover above that would connect the two spaces right here. And then a covered area for individuals to eat, to stand in line waiting for concessions, and whatnot. So that's right now where we're at on the concept design for this. And we're waiting for some more feedback to enable to move forward.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. And let me go back to see where we're at on our presentation here.
You should be on seismic.
Okay. Seismic rehabilitation project. We have completed our RFP process as part of our SRGP. So SRGP is Seismic Rehabilitation Grant Project for the state of Oregon. The district received $1.9 million and some change to do a rehabilitation at the River Mill Elementary School. We completed RFP and have selected an engineer architectural service firm to work with the district over the course of the next 2 years to complete this project. It is a lengthy project because of just how much assessment and design, and we're working with a CMGC as well, which is a contract construction management firm that will help with the process. But we're ready to move forward to start scheduling timelines to put together our committee of oversight, much like we did with our middle school seismic rehabilitation project. We'll have stakeholders involved in weekly and probably more frequent meetings as well as we get closer. A proposed timeline right now is summer of 2023 to be completed early fall of 2023. And the biggest reason is just our timeline of procurement, additional RFPs, making sure that we have the correct design and that the district can leverage while we have this project going on, if there's other things that we can do at the same time while we have the lid open, if you will, such as additional outlets or HVAC repairs or a full re-roof. Much of the River Mill Elementary School is original, and that roof that we have on top is about 7 years away from the end of life expectancy. And I plan to provide some information to our board of directors at the next workshop on costs for re-roof compared to a partial roof replacement is what we have going on right now with this project. Any questions on the rehabilitation project? Working with Julie Theander, we have put together similar like we did with Christy with IT is a replacement plan for equipment. This really started from a conversation on our cooler freezer at the River Mill Elementary. We've been spending a number of resources doing minor repairs and larger repairs over the course of a few years. And I've asked Julie to start creating a longevity plan on what equipment needs to be replaced, expected cost, and that life cycle. Some of our equipment, our larger equipment in our kitchens are over 20 years old. And we've started picking apart some of these projects. For example, our dishwasher project at the kitchen at the high school will be going in this winter during winter break. But there's more need out there as we've been communicating with our community and other stakeholders that our kitchens need up-to-date equipment as well to supply healthy food to our students. And the more students that we are getting in our district, the more important that is as we go. I hope to be able to share with you the replacement plan at the next meeting so you can get an idea on how much equipment and potential costs that we're looking at. And then finally, the high school stadium, Superintendent Carpenter spoke to this a little bit and about our current status of the football soccer field at the high school stadium. And our focus really is looking at safety, reliability of that surface and really coming together as a community, knowing that this is our district supports a number of activities, not only through athletics from our district, but community events or youth organizations. And unfortunately, our football field, soccer field is just in a position where there's some safety concerns. There's areas of not being able to be used. An example is our soccer girls, our varsity girls soccer team had to push their first playoff game to a different school. We were the home team, but it was deemed that our field was not usable due to safety issues. And so unfortunately, I think this was one of our first playoff games in many years for our girls soccer team. We weren't able to play it at home. We had to go to Oregon City High School. And, working with our athletics director and just knowing that the limitations that we have, we can only put varsity on there. We want to be able to put JV. We want to have our youth use that facility because of the historical process of it, or the big stadium, the kind of the fun that it brings to our younger kids. But we're not able to. And it is unfortunate. And I don't know if Superintendent Carpenter would like to speak a little bit more about that or not, and have any more data to share.
Well, I think it's important just to note that, this football stadium, the main stadium, is a pinnacle of our community and the school district, and it has deep historic ties. The football stadium, both seismically and safety-wise, has been on our capital projects list now for slightly just under 10 years now. And as we've reached out to our community to ask for financial investment through way of a construction bond, unfortunately, through the failure of the most recent two bonds, this continues to be a pressing issue that needs to be tackled sooner, more likely than later. And so I think at this point, what's important to note is a couple things that are factual and indisputable. And that is that the community loves Buzz Randall Stadium, and the Estacada School District is committed to making sure that Buzz Randall Stadium continues to be that destination place for all of our community members to enjoy high school athletics, to enjoy the Easter egg hunt, and to enjoy other major events that occur inside that stadium. The other truth is that we know that this stadium and field surface is in need of major repairs. There are some major seismic needs for the stadium, and there are some major work needs for the football field itself and the playing surface itself. It's a clay field. It's extremely muddy, and when the weather gets wet, which it typically does in October and November, it prevents our kids and our PE classes and our youth community activities from being able to participate on those fields. The sad part about this year is this is a once in a decade timeframe where Estacada is experiencing an extremely successful athletic season in soccer, cross country, football, and the likes. And unfortunately, our school district has had to ration the amount of times our athletes can utilize this field just due simply to the field conditions. And so like Mike Ware talked about, we had to displace our junior varsity programs onto different fields, and then which ultimately displaced our youth athletic programs onto different fields. And in just a couple more minutes, it's important to note that the Estacada School District is also the only location for youth athletics in our community to participate. And so not only are we a growing community with a finite amount of field space for this demand, we are trying to place on these facilities state competitive level, a high state competitive level athletic program, as well as trying to support a growing youth population inside our community. And at this point, our fields just don't have the capacity to handle that load, ultimately leading to Buzz Randall Stadium only able to house varsity only events. And unfortunately, yet again, for continuous years, it has not been able to withstand an entire entire fall athletic season. And so I encourage those who are watching either live or those who may watch this Pillar Committee meeting later to attend our school board meeting, which is a week from this upcoming Wednesday, where the Executive Board of Directors and I will begin to deliberate on what the next best steps are to not only support the kids who are participating on these fields right now, but also what a long-term strategy looks like. And so that's probably the best, Mike, that I can talk about at this point. But I really just wanted to paint the picture that we all love Buzz Randall Stadium. Buzz Randall Stadium and its playing surface right now are not meeting the needs of our community. And at the end of the day, as we've made a commitment to our community to make sure that our facilities are up to date, safe, warm, and dry for all kids who participate inside our school system, right now, Buzz Randall Stadium is not meeting that needs. Therefore, the school district is doing a disservice to its children, and we need to address that. And our school board team is prepared and equipped and ready to begin deliberating on that.
Thank you. That was well said. I appreciate you adding those comments. And then finally, so opening up to the committee before the Pillar Leader Report ends, it's just the next 30 days. Are there areas of focus that you'd like me to bring back or like the committee to bring back? Return on investment is a standing one. If we do purchase large ticket items that we can demonstrate a return on investment, that will be a part of our agenda. But are there any other focuses over the next 30 days that you'd like me to address?
Mike, I would highlight what's probably going to be talked about in the next board meeting, which is this facility that the community uses, and be ready soon to talk about ROIs and maintenance and safety and watering and all those types of things, and seismic, because it really is a disservice. And not that our staff in the district don't do an amazing job on that field, but you're fighting a natural surface and natural conditions. So yeah, they do a great job keeping it as nice as it is, and it lasts as long as it lasts. So, but we do need to take a look at how we're going to address this long term, and we need to do it sooner than later. So I imagine in the next 30 days, there might be some heavy lifting around that topic.
Copy that. Thank you.
But yeah, that's all I'd add for now.
Okay.
Mike, I know this is primarily a financial pillar conversation, but I do think it would be wise for this pillar and its committee to begin the process of how to educate on a community of the difference between capital construction funds and general education funds.
Okay.
It's a good idea. Okay.
All right. Thank you. And that is the Pillar Leader Report for tonight.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have any public comments or questions?
No.
Good of the order, anybody? Next meeting, we're going to stick with our Mondays.
If we can, yes.
So that'll be what, the 6th?
December 6th, correct.
Looks good for me.
All right.
Okay, with that, we'll adjourn this meeting, and thanks for the great conversation and progress.